If the Pomodoro technique doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean that you are wrong. It just means that you have to change the technique a little to fit your beautiful brain. If you've ever talked to anyone about getting more writing done, you've probably heard of the Pomodoro Technique. And the reason why you've heard of it is that there's a lot of people who swear by it. It's actually become so bad that they have their own language. They start measuring their time in Pomodoros. But the Pomodoro Technique does not work for everyone. And if you're here, then that might mean that it doesn't work for you. So what is the Pomodoro Technique? Well, very simply, Pomodoro Technique says focus for 25 minutes and then take a short break. So usually what you do is you write for 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break, you write for 25 minutes again, and you keep doing that. Now, the longer you work, the longer your breaks can get. That's absolutely fine, but the 25-minute focus sprint is the core of the Pomodoro Technique. So when people talk about writing for a Pomodoro, what they actually mean is they wrote for 25 minutes. There's a lot to love about the Pomodoro Technique. And one thing that I love most about it is the idea of breaks. Why do I think breaks are important? Well, it's very simple. I think that it has to do with attention span. Now, the way I see it, an attention span kind of follows the shape of a bell curve. So when time starts, your focus is very, very low. When you first sit down to write, your focus is not that high. But as you keep writing, your focus gets better and better as you get in the flow, right? Now, at some point, you peak and you start to get tired and your focus tapers off again. That's absolutely fine. It actually means that this is a great time to take a break, step away from your project, and reset your attention span. I think a break resets your attention span so you can start building up that focus again. And this seems to work great with the Pomodoro Technique, which is why so many people swear by it. With the Pomodoro Technique becomes a problem, however, when your attention span is not 25 minutes. The Pomodoro Technique kind of depends on the fact that everyone has the same attention span, that everyone has peaked just after 25 minutes. And I don't think that is true, especially when you have ADHD. There are two surefire ways to know that 25 minutes is not the length of your attention span. So what you do is you set a timer for 25 minutes. After the 25 minutes, your timer goes off. And at that point, you can have one of three feelings. One, you can feel a little bit annoyed because you were doing very well, but you can do with a break. If that is the case, keep using the Pomodoro Technique. It's great. But it's probably not the case for you. So there's two other feelings that you can have when this timer goes off. One, you can be incredibly frustrated because you'll have just gotten in the flow and now you have to stop. And if that happens, then you're probably going to ignore your timer. You're going to keep writing until you collapse. And you're going to decide that both the Pomodoro Technique and timers are just not for you. Another option is that actually you are frustrated too when the timer goes off, but that is because for the last 15 minutes you've been staring at this timer waiting for it to go off. That means that 25 minutes is either too short for you or it is too long for you. And that can actually easily be resolved. Now, we don't want to get rid of the idea of timers altogether. The beauty of a timer is that it will help you create organization in this mess of time that we ADHDers see. We are not very sensitive to the passing of time. It is part of our neurodivergence. And a timer can really help you stay focused. One other reason why I absolutely love timers is that when you get distracted and the timer goes off, that is a great time for you to reorient yourself and to ask yourself, am I actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And if your timer goes off, let's say every half hour, then that means that you can never get distracted and forget about what it is that you were doing for longer than half an hour. You'll no longer have those days where at the end of the day, you look at your computer and you have no idea whatsoever what you have done and how you're ever going to get through this task list that you forgot about today. So timers, good, we like them, but Pomodoro Technique might have to be amended if your attention span is not 25 minutes. If 25 minutes is too long, just forget about Pomodoro and start with 10-minute writing sprints. After those 10 minutes, take a quick break and then reset your attention span, go back to your writing project and write for another 10 minutes. It might not be Pomodoro Technique, but if it works for you, it is still fantastic. For me personally, 25 minutes is too short because I need quite a bit of time to actually get in the flow. And that means that for me, 45 minutes is actually the perfect writing sprint time. So when I set a timer for 45 minutes and the timer goes off, I will give myself a 15-minute break. Those 15 minutes can be spent on anything as long as I don't need to use the same type of focus for that task that I also did on my writing project. This might be a good time to do some household chores, which reminds me, there's some laundry in the washing machine that I need to hang up. If you have laundry in the washing machine as well, make sure that you write it down for yourself because this is the ADHD problem, right? Hashtag ADHD tip, check your washing machine. 15 minutes. So do anything that doesn't require the same type of focus as writing does. It can be doing household chores. It can be doing some exercises, being in your body. It can mean texting with a friend or calling them. It might mean doing some meditation or breathing exercises. Whatever floats your boat, as long as it is not the same kind of focus, because then you're not taking a break anymore. You're switching tasks. Experiment a little bit. Set different length timers. Start with 10 minutes, set a timer for 15 minutes, set a timer for 45 or even an hour. Just experiment with them and figure out today for this type of task, how long is my attention span? When you have figured that out, you can use the same technique, the Pomodoro Technique, only in an amended version that will work for your brain. If the Pomodoro Technique doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean that you are wrong. It just means that you have to change the technique a little to fit your beautiful brain. If you like these tips and if you want to learn more about how to become a better writer with ADHD, make sure to check out these videos in which I tell you more about being productive with ADHD. Talk to you soon.